Alright, let's try a few examples because the more examples that you write down in your notes, the more you're going to see problems that are similar to those as you try the homework. So the first one is Max was given a raise of 75 cents an hour, which brought his hourly wage to $12.35. Write and solve an equation to determine Max's hourly wage prior to his raise. So what we're trying to figure out is this part here. That's what it asks us. Find Max's hourly wage prior to his raise. So we know that his wage prior to his raise, so his wage, so we know that we are also given, Max was given a raise of 75 cents. So if we have his wage prior to his raise, and then we give him a raise of 75 cents, that's going to bring us to his hourly wage of $12.35. So we're going to need to write this in terms of math. For wage prior to his raise, I would either go with a W or a P to denote that. So you could turn this into, or translate it into mathematical terms with W plus 0.75 is always going to be equals 12.35. And so from there we're just going to need to solve this equation, and we'll find out what his wage prior to his raise is. So if we subtract on both sides 0.75 minus 0.75, we're going to get, those are going to zero out on that side because 0.75 minus 0.75 is just 0. So we'd have W plus 0, or just W on that side. And then we have 12.35 minus 0.75. And that's going to bring us to 11.6, also known as $11.60. So you can even put in a dollar sign there if you want, but that's what his wage was before he got the raise. So that's how you can use equations to figure out story problems. These are very real life sorts of problems. So Heather finished a race in 58.4 seconds, which was 2.6 seconds faster than her practice time. Write and solve an equation to find Heather's practice time. So we're looking for practice time. We know that she finished the race in 58.4 seconds, so that's another important part. And then that was 2.6 seconds faster than her practice time. So that's an important piece right there. So we have her practice time, and then we know that she finished the race in 58.4 seconds, which was 2.6 seconds faster than her practice time. So faster kind of tells us that we're going to take her practice time and subtract 2.6 seconds, and that would be equal to 58.4 seconds. So her practice time was actually slower than what she ended up running, and so that's how we know this. So we can translate this again to math language. Practice time, you could either use P or T as your variable. So I'm going to go with P for practice time. And if we take our practice time and subtract 2.6 seconds, that will be equal to 58.4. So practice time minus 2.6 is 58.4. So then we have to undo subtraction, so we're going to add 2.6 to both sides. And so on the left side, that's going to cancel out. Those zero out, because negative 2.6 plus 2.6 is 0, and we just get p plus 0 on the left. In other words, p equals 58.4 plus 2.6 gives us an even 61. So her practice time was 61 seconds. And she finished the race in 58.4 seconds, and that was 2.6 seconds faster than her practice time. So we were able to find the practice time just by piecing it together. So make sure you're taking notes because you'll see similar problems. All right. The last one, the students at an assembly were divided into 4 equal groups. I bet you can see what operation we're going to have in this one. Divided into 4 equal groups. There were 63 students in each group. Write and solve an equation to determine the number of students at the assembly. So we know there's 63 students in 4 groups. We're trying to figure out how many students there were at the assembly. So students at the assembly, I might just denote that as S. So students at the assembly are divided into 4 equal groups. Four groups, and that if we divide those students into 4 groups, that is 63 students. So we've got to translate that to math language. We have students divided into 4 groups is 63 students. So we've got a different operation this time. We had addition in the first one, we had subtraction in the second one, now we've got division. You could also write this as S over 4, because that's the same thing as this division sign. S over 4 equals 63. And so what undoes division? Well, in either of these, if we want to undo division, we're going to have to multiply. So just taking a look at that bottom one there so we don't get confused. We're dividing by 4, so we've got to multiply by the same thing in order to cancel that out. Multiply by 4 on both sides. So S divided by 4 times 4 is just going to be S, those one out. If you take 4 divided by 4 in your calculator, that gives you a 1. So this is just S on this side on the left. And then we have 63 times 4, which is 252. So we found out the number of the students at the assembly. They were all sitting in the auditorium, and they were divided into 4 groups, and that made 63 students in each group. So once you find the answer, it's good to just check and make sure your answer makes sense. But hopefully you took good notes on all of those videos and you're ready to try some practice problems.